Hey Gemini, what's up gang? Hope everybody is well. We're gonna go ahead and do how are people viewing you right now. One of my favorite readings. This can be anybody. It can be a lover, a friend, co-workers, family, random person at the grocery store. It's just how you're being perceived by people right now, okay? So if that's something that interests you, do stick around. Gemini, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Jessica. Please take a look at my description box. That's gonna have all the information that you would need to know. And yes, this is a Gemini channel. However, if you vibe, you tribe, so go ahead and make yourself comfortable. Gemini, if you're returning, welcome back. I hope that you're well. Hope you're taking care of yourself. I do hope that you're doing what's best for you, boo. Thank you for all the love, all the support. Gemini, thank you for all the good vibes. It really does mean the world, okay? All right, guys, so let's go ahead and hop right into this. We're gonna look at all kinds of different oracle cards, and we're just gonna get a whole bunch of messages, good and not so good. Remember, this is how people are viewing you. How people view things are through their own perception, and that perception can definitely be distorted. So if something does not fit, or it offends you or whatever, it's like, don't take it for word, right? Just take it for what it is, okay? So for your intuitive message, we have the moon. And I heard that line from Mean Girls where they're talking about Gretchen Wieners. And he's like, that's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets. I feel like people might feel like you are full of secrets. Maybe theirs. You might know some things about people that they know you know this, okay? Maybe this has not been vocally expressed, but there's an understanding here, right? Like, I see you. I see who you are or whatever. That could be something. I also feel like people view you as somebody like you've been a confidant for them and you haven't exposed these secrets. You've kept these things to yourself. People could also view you as somebody who's very mystical, magical, esoteric, right? And there is this energy here of like, you know a lot of things, and you could have a very strong intuition or connection to the divine. But this could also just be like, you have life's secrets. Like somehow you have a blueprint or you have a plan here of like what life is meant to be. And so you live your life according to that plan. Like you have unknown knowledge or something like that. It's interesting too because for some reason they're showing me Eve in the Garden of Eden with the apple and the snake. So some people might see you as very tempting, but it's like tempting in a way of like, you make them think outside the box, right? You know, with all the biblical stuff to the side, it's like that apple was knowledge and it was representing freeing your mind and opening yourself up to something that wasn't taught to you or wasn't available or even allotted to you before, right? Like God had given them all the knowledge that they needed to know, and the snake was offering knowledge that they weren't privy to. And so that's when that awareness came in, where they realized suddenly that they were naked and this and that. It's like, we weren't aware of this before. So people could view you as somebody who you unlock that hidden knowledge that they weren't aware of. And it's like, now that it's unlocked, it's like once you see, you can't unsee, right? So before I didn't realize that I was nude, and so it didn't matter. You know, but now I realize I'm nude, so now I want to cover myself up with leaves and all that stuff because I'm aware. So there could be something like that. Maybe you went through a spiritual awakening recently, or maybe people are just seeing you as like you are a catalyst to that in others. Like you help people spiritually awaken because you are so woke, for lack of a better word, okay? I also feel like there's something very tempting about you, but again, it's like a taboo type of energy. Maybe because this card can represent a spotlight for me too. So perhaps like people feel like you do have a spotlight on you, but it's not a conventional type of way. Like you're not like the cookie cutter, popular, everybody loves you, everybody likes you type of person. You are an acquired taste and you do have acquired tastes, okay? So it's like you are not for everybody, and you might be into the more taboo or macabre or just darker, gothier, emo, you know, Halloween spooky type of aspects. That's what I'm getting with the moon, okay? For some of you, people could be viewing you as somebody who's very spiritually connected as well. Like you just seem to be connected more than others. Let's get an animal message. We don't normally get animal messages for this type of reading, but I feel like it. So how are people viewing Gemini right now? How are people viewing Gemini right now, Spirit? How are people viewing Gemini currently? Oh, we have the turtle. Okay. That card comes out a lot. We like to see it. So you are, I'm hearing on the way. On the way, right? I feel like you're on the way to something, and people are viewing you as that. Like you are, the thing about you is like you can protect yourself and you have strong boundaries, and you will definitely pull back and go into your shell. Okay, you find comfort in solitude. Why? Because you're very self-realized. You're very comfortable within yourself. You're not somebody that's depended on a lot of people throughout your life. You have had to depend on yourself. You've had to be strong. You've had to make decisions by yourself and go through illnesses by yourself and stressful moments and breakups and wins and successes and all of this stuff. Some of you guys have really had to face on your own. And so because of that, you feel very comfortable with yourself. You know, you're not somebody that seeks that validation or that from an outside source, okay? The turtle also talks about, of course, all of your life experience accumulating, and because of that, you have so much wisdom. Like you can see things further or deeper than other people can. So people see you as somebody who you're not afraid to pull back. You're not afraid to be in your own energy. You're not afraid to kind of be on your own here. And in fact, some people might even view you as somebody who prefers it that way. You'll come out of your shell when you want to. Okay, that's why you have a shell, is because you can go into your own little safe space, right? And it's decked out with all the snacks and the good music and the soft pillows, and it's like, it's a very comfortable place, okay? But I do feel like people might view you right now as somebody who's a little bit out of your shell and you're on the move and you're doing something. And people could see you as somebody who's living in your authenticity or allowing yourself to be seen a little bit more, because with the moon, it's like, sometimes it's unexpressed or suppressed emotions even. And since we have a turtle that's moving, it's making me feel like you might be letting some emotions out that people didn't realize that you had. Okay, you could just be expressing yourself right now. But turtle energy for me is generally like a very grounded energy, and people could see you as that. It's interesting because it's an earthy type of energy, but it's the element of water in this deck. And turtles, at least land turtles, right? They can traverse both land and water, and they spend a lot of their youth in water. So I do feel like people see you as somebody who's very easily can connect to their emotions, but then at the same time, you can also be very grounded and very logical and reasonable too. It just depends. And your idea of what's reasonable or logical might not match everybody else's. So whereas you think you are making a logical decision, other people might be like, okay, well, that's not reasonable or realistic at all. And you're like, well, it is if you believe, right? So there's something there with that. I also feel like people feel like you have a very strong sense of faith or a very devout energy, like whatever your belief system is, even if it's just like spirituality or whatever, okay? It's like you believe it, you have taken time to develop it, you trust it, and you are very devout in it, okay? So the turtle says, an ancient soul, grounded, trusting, and at home in the self. It is wonderful to be in the presence of a turtle personality. Like the beaver, the turtle has a strong relationship with the earth and water elements simultaneously. This helps to ground and connect them to the deeper truths of life. No matter where their travels lead them, turtle energy is behind all great writers and storytellers. They collect their life experiences under their shells for later use. The most potent turtle energy helps us close all the other books and begin to tell our own true tale. When in balance, peaceful, adventurous, and productive. When out of balance, slows down to a halt. And to bring into balance an adventure. Yeah, I kind of feel like people see you as somebody who you are on a new adventure, you know? And that you might be somebody who's very creative. Maybe you're a great writer or a great storyteller. Maybe you're good at expressing yourself, or like people love to listen to you speak or something like that, or they like to see you do whatever you do because you have developed this through all of your life experiences that you've had, right? So you might be somebody who like knows a lot about a lot, you know, or maybe you know a little about a lot, right? So it's like you have all these different little things that you have acquired certain wisdom in, but you're not really a master at anything, you know? So you could definitely be somebody who has like a lot of fun facts, or you're into several different hobbies, right? But you've collected a lot of life experience. So you've been through a lot. And people do find your energy to be very potent, right? And they could also see you right now as somebody who is, again, closing one chapter or even closing a book and starting another one. Maybe literally, like if you're a writer or something, but also in the aspect of like, that part of my life is done. That part of my journey is over, and I'm not hanging on to it. I'm not looking back. I am looking forward, right? So there's something there with that. So if anybody has been like emotionally connected to you, especially with the moon, Cancer, Pisces energy, but also any water sign, but just emotionally connected in some kind of way, I feel like this person has questioned whether or not you're still emotionally invested or holding on or something, right? Like, does Gemini still have emotion for me? And I feel like they actually see you as somebody who's maybe moving away from them, or you're emotionally disconnecting. You know, it feels like you're on to new experiences here, okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and get some more out. Like I said, we're going to pull from several different oracle decks. So let's see, okay? We have read the fine print coming right out. It's interesting, especially with the moon, right? Your hair is full of secrets, Gemini, okay? I feel like people are seeing you as somebody as like, what you see is not always what you get. Sometimes, right? But how can you be sure? There's something like that going on where it's like people are viewing you as somebody you got to take a very deep look at, because, you know, you might say one thing or act a certain way, but really inside you're feeling this way. And again, that comes from that energy of you not really feeling like you need to talk things out with everybody. So you could be the type of person that for sure, like, you just decide to move, you know? Start looking for houses, looking for jobs or whatever, you know, looking for wherever you want to live. And then like you're putting down the deposit, you're filling out the application, you're renting the moving truck, you've been packing your house for months, and people just don't know because you don't tell them, you know? So it's like people might feel like they need to really check in on you often to know about the changes that are going on in your life, because you're just somebody who doesn't really share that information. Maybe you don't like people to know your next step, but there's something where people definitely view you as somebody they need to look into a little bit deeper, because what they thought isn't what it is, right? So there's, again, some kind of illusion here. It's like when we think about a bright sunny day versus a night that's a full moon. A night that is a full moon, if the moon is clear and bright, you can see, you know, like it's pretty bright out there, but it's not the clarity of a sunny day. There's still some things that are obscured, or there's still some things that are hidden or in the shadows, or your mind, your eyes can definitely play tricks on you, right? So there's something there with that where it's like people might view you as somebody where they think they have some of the story, but they're not really sure if they have the full story. Or maybe there's something where it's like this is developing over time. Like the more that I get to know Gemini, the more that I'm seeing is that they're not just this one-dimensional person. They have a lot of substance, a lot of different faces, a lot of different facets and information and energy that is, you know, in regards to them, basically. I'm also feeling like people are viewing you as somebody where they should have read the motherfucking fine print, okay? That is not for everybody, but somebody feels like they should have read the fine print before they came around messing with you, before they tried you, before they did what they knew they shouldn't have done. Like there's somebody in your energy, Gemini, and this is not for everybody, you will know, right? Because it'll resonate. There's somebody in your energy that feels like they once had a really good standing with you and they've like fallen from grace. Like you're never going to see them the same way. You're never going to treat them the same way, because now, you know, once we've seen it, we can't unsee it, right? And so there could be something here where people are like, damn, I should have thought twice before I did that, or before I said that, or before I acted that way. Because people might see you as somebody who's a little scrutinizing, okay? Like a little bit critical, and that might be some of y'all's job. Like your job is to be overly analytical or to be very scrutinizing, or you need to have a keen eye in whatever you do. Or maybe you're like me where you read tarot, and so you're always used to kind of looking behind whatever it is, you know, that is being shown. So that's just something that you naturally do now as you're reading people without even really trying. People could see that in you. Like this, like Gemini reads people, or Gemini looks deeply into situations, you know? So there's something there with that, okay? Interesting, guys. What else do we have? How are people viewing Gemini gang currently? How are people viewing Gemini gang currently? Also, if you do any kind of like editing work or something like that, like people see you as somebody who's really good at that. Like you're good at finding the mistakes, or you're good at finding things. So I don't know, take that as it resonates. We have the messages, okay? This feels like less of how somebody views you and more like somebody wants from you. I gotta be honest, like, because I feel like there's a particular person around you that is really in their emotions about you. They feel like you've walked away, okay? Maybe because you saw something in them that you didn't really like or something, or you weren't expecting, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know it was like that. So maybe this person wants to message you. They think back on the good times. Like I do feel like somebody views you as somebody where it's like they want to message you. That's why I'm saying it's like it's hard to put that into words, because it feels like, yeah, it's less of this is how I view you and this is how I view us, or this is how I want things to be. So somebody could look over old messages that you guys used to send, or they could think about messages. They could replay conversations in their head, see where they should have looked at things deeper or differently. That's not for everybody. You definitely got somebody in your feels here that, I don't know, that is coming through. But how people view you with the messages. Well, I'm getting a couple things. First of all, I feel like people view you as a messenger. You have a lot of wisdom. We see that, inherent wisdom, right? And secret knowledge. And so I feel like there's something here where people view you as somebody where it's like when you speak, they want to pay attention because they want to hear what you have to say. You be dropping gems, okay? Like you be dropping like just nuggets of pure knowledge on people. And that again is that energy of maybe expanding people's awareness or opening people up to thinking of things or seeing things in different ways that people around them, they're not ever going to see situations that deeply because of whatever life experience, upbringing or whatever, culture, who knows. But it's like you bring a different element to life. And so people see you as a messenger, maybe even of spirit for some of you, but that's not for everybody. I also feel like people view you as somebody who could say a lot more than you do. Okay? For some reason with these messages all packed up tightly and everything, it's making me feel like letters never sent, you know, or conversations never had. So people could view you as somebody that, again, you could say more than you are. Like you're choosing to be silent, you're choosing to not say anything. For some of you, people are viewing you as somebody who's choosing to just walk away from it and just move on with your life versus trying to figure it out. And I also feel like people are viewing you as somebody where it's like there's unsaid things on their end. Like they're viewing you as somebody that they wish they would have said more to. They wish they would have expressed themselves more. Because somebody definitely feels a kindred energy to you. Whether it's romantic or not, like I've had a past life with you where I feel very connected to you. And it's hard to explain that is almost the energy I'm getting. Okay, so how are people viewing Gemini? Let's keep it moving, guys. How are people viewing Gemini gang currently, Spirit? How are people viewing them currently? We have abundance, the harvest coming out, for sure. First of all, I'm getting a couple messages. For some of you guys, I feel like people could view you as somebody where it's like you got your hand in many different buckets here, okay? I'm getting that from the ripple effect on the bottom of the deck. It's making me feel like for some of you, people see that you have a lot of different odd jobs, right? Like you got like 18 jobs. You know, you do hair, you run mail, you do Amazon Prime, you clean houses, you walk dogs, you got a corporate job, you got a .com that you're working on. Like you have a lot of different things going on, and this is all like accumulated to bring a harvest to you. So people do see you as somebody who is very abundant and very resourceful, okay? I also feel like people view you as somebody who has a very strong ancestral legacy. Now, whether they are aware of that spiritual ancestral side or not, it could be quite literally you come from somebody or come from a family that has like a lot of finances, so you have a large inheritance that you're going to get or that you've gotten. That could be for sure one thing. But it feels like for a lot of you too, people just see you as somebody who's blessed beyond measure, and maybe there is some kind of weird like knowing that they have that this isn't all from the earthly realm. Like a lot of it comes from spiritual stuff too. And if they do know about ancestors and ancestral inheritance and blessings and things like that, they definitely see you as somebody who has inherited some kind of ancestral blessing. Like you are blessed, and everything you touch turns to gold, right? Okay, it's like with the gold member. If you know, you know. And some people might feel that way, like everything you touch turns to gold, or that you have a lot of fruit. Which brings me to another thing. I feel like people view you as somebody who's got options. It's interesting too, because I saw the snake with Eve with the apple at the beginning of this. I feel like people see you as somebody who you have a lot of options. You can have whatever you want, really, or you could have whoever you want, really. I feel like people view you as somebody who's very charming, very tempting, somebody who can really amp up the sensuality when you want to. And it's not something you give to everybody or you always show. So when people get a sight of it, they're like, oh, Lord, you know? It's like you can drive people crazy a little bit, and I do feel that, okay? But people view you as somebody who has options. You can take the fruit that's on the ground. You can take this low-hanging fruit. You can take the fruit that's already packaged up pretty in the basket, or the fruit that we don't even see at the top of the tree. You have a lot of options and many ways to make abundance. Again, so people see you as somebody who is very resourceful and able to create abundance almost out of nothing. You know? I'm hearing, even when I'm down, I'm up. Okay, even when I'm doing bad, I'm doing good. Like people see you as somebody who, like, you know, they never really know what your next step is or what's going to happen with you next, because you just always have something new going on. And that could definitely be this messenger energy with read the fine print. It's giving like breaking news type of energy here for sure. Okay, let's get another deck out. So how are people viewing Gemini gang currently, Spirit? How are people viewing Gemini gang currently? Clear that deck. How are people viewing Gemini gang currently? How are they viewing them? Look, card number 31, luck. Okay, Yeah. You know, that's kind of what I'm getting. I feel like people are viewing you as somebody where you are incredibly blessed. You are lucky. Maybe you wouldn't look at it as luck. Maybe you don't even believe in luck, but people definitely feel like things work out in your favor. Again, you have some kind of spiritual like blessing or inheritance. Also, 31 reducing to 4 being a card of stability, right, in your foundation. People could feel like you are very blessed in the material realm. Like you have a lot going for you. You're very abundant here, is what I'm getting. Also, I feel like people are viewing you as somebody, but your taste is kind of changing here. Card number 42 with refinement. It's like you are evolving into something that is a little bit more refined, or I don't know, I'm getting like a luxury type of energy coming off of you, or a glow up, a glamorous type of energy. Like people, maybe people do glamorize your life or your existence a little bit. Like, you know, like when we think about, let's just say royalty, and I'm not saying that you are royalty, maybe spiritually you are, or maybe you are, I don't know who's watching me, but it feels like people look at your life, like we look at royals and we sometimes romanticize it, like, oh man, I wonder what it'd be like to grow up in a palace, right? And have like all the money in the world and have servers and, you know, people that just like are for our beck and call here, right? But if you use critical thinking, you understand that that's actually not really always the best life either. There's a lot of restriction. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of like, I don't have a choice over my life, you know? I think I was reading an article where it's like, even like the royal, like the women in the royal family, they can only wear certain colors on their nails. Like they're not even really allowed to get their nails done the way that they want to. Like they have to wear like pinks and nudes and, you know, light blues and stuff like that. Like, so it's like right down to what you're putting on your nails. You don't really have that freedom and that choice, but people on the outside looking in are like, oh man, it must be so cool to be a royal. It must be so cool to be this. Like that's what I'm getting. Like I feel like people might glamorize your existence or your life a little bit and not see all of the hardship that you go through too, which might be why people view you as somebody who you're very deep. You know, like once they get to know you or they have a conversation with you, they're like, oh man, Gemini has been through some things. Like Gemini has seen a lot, or Gemini came from the gutter, right? And so it kind of shifts people's opinion of you and their perception of you over time, because they see that you're not just like this pretty little privileged prince or princess. Like you're somebody who has a real story, who's been through some real shit, who's healed some real wounds, and you've gotten wiser because of it. And because of that, you have a wealth of knowledge to give out to other people too. It makes people perk up and listen a little bit more when you speak, because when people don't really relate to you, like let's use like tarot and what I do for an example. Like if I like to get personal in my readings and tell y'all about some of the things I've been through, so that way you can know that I'm not just out here talking out of my ass telling you to stay positive and do this and do that, and I've never dealt with it myself. Like no, I've definitely dealt with a lot of crap in my life. So people being able to relate to you helps people take what you say a little bit more seriously, and like they could actually apply it to their life. I don't know, that's what I'm getting. What else do we have here? How are people viewing? I feel like there's a lot of discovery energy. Let me get some water. There's a lot of discovery energy that's going on right now, where it's like less about how people are viewing you and more about what people are discovering about you. How are people viewing Gemini currently, please? How are people viewing Gemini gang currently? We have love with the tomatoes, card number 30. Okay. And then we have cleansing, lemon, card number 25. Ooh, interesting. Lemon and lime. Maybe you're the best of both worlds, right? Okay, for sure. There's something very crisp or fresh or energizing about you as well. I do feel like you might have high expectations, guys, okay? I'm just going to say that. And I feel like people might see that with you, right? Because you come from a very like proud lineage, right? Or proud ancestry, or it's like you're not coming here to play, or you have a lot of, you know, responsibilities on your shoulders or something, so you need somebody who's going to be like equally yoked to you. So I feel like people are viewing you as somebody who, yeah, you might be a little hard to please here, but it's like you have the stuff to back it up too, you know? It's interesting with the love energy, because I do feel like people view you as somebody who, like, you're easy to love, okay? you're easy to kind of get swept away with, and there's something that's very romantic about you or whimsical. Again, I'm getting like a sensual, romantic energy. You don't really let it out often, but when you do, people are like, wow, I could kind of get lost in that person, okay? So I do feel that. I also feel like people feel like you're very positive, or you're always trying to look on the bright side. Like people view you as somebody who you're willing to help people. You're willing to be there for people, you know, even when it's to your own detriment, which you might have had to work on your healthy boundaries when it comes to that. People could view you right now as somebody who is cleaning up something in their life, right? Like you're really, you know, removing any kind of negative energy or purging out energy that's no longer necessary or needed. So people could view you again as somebody who is walking away, reading the fine print when it comes to things, seeing beneath the surface, being very smart, because again, you are somebody who's not wanting to get caught up in drama or bullcrap. People could also be viewing you as somebody who's doing some kind of decluttering or cleaning when it comes to their house, or maybe your office, your car. I don't know. That could literally be your neighbor saw you cleaning your car out, and that's how they view you. You know, somebody who's cleaning your car or something. Interesting. Maybe some of you guys own a cleaning business or something like that. People could see you as very organized or somebody who is very clean. Like even if people don't know what your house looks like, I guarantee you they assume that your house is super clean. You know, like they assume that everything has its place and it's warm and it's cozy and it's full of nice smells and there's always something cooking on the stove, and it's like you're giving a very comforting energy here, okay? Okay, how are people viewing Gemini? Let's get some more out here. How are people viewing Gemini, gang, currently? We have La Luna, which is interesting because we have the moon out here twice. Card 102, inner flow and cycle. I do feel like people are viewing you as somebody who you do look deep within, right? With read the fine print, excuse me. Yeah, it's like people are seeing you as somebody where, you know how like when things happen, like say like a breakdown of a connection or something, people are always looking on the external, like, well, what did they do? How was it their problem? People view you as somebody who you're always kind of internalizing, like, well, how could I do things different? What do I need to change? What's up with me? You know? So people could view you as somebody who's very in touch with your inner emotions, your inner self. You're always kind of checking in, you know? People could definitely view you as somebody who you enjoy the moon. You enjoy looking at the moon. You like looking at the sky, the stars. You are more comfortable at night. Maybe you're a night owl or something, or people have good memories of you at night. People might think of you a lot at night. We have card number 91, Spirit, the hero's journey. Yeah, people definitely see you as somebody who's like, you're not like everybody else. You're not just here living some kind of random existence and that's it. Like you have a mission, you have a purpose, you're here to do something, and you're here to connect with the divine, connect with yourself, and connect with other people. I think I said in a reading recently, like that saying, because it's coming back through, I went searching for God and I found myself. I went searching for myself and I found God. And again, what I had said in the beginning of this reading, we're opening people up, like opening up their perception, opening up their viewpoint of the world. You know, maybe some of these people who are viewing you, Gemini, maybe they've only ever been around a certain type of people, you know? Like they grew up in a small town, or they live in a small town. They live in an area where it's like everybody looks and dresses and thinks and acts and speaks and believes and loves and fights and whatever the same fucking way. Nobody is different around here. Everybody is the same. And so you are like somebody who is just so different to the point where it's almost taboo, but maybe where you're from, it's not. It's like everybody's like this around here, or people are different. Like maybe you live in a more diverse place or something where for you it's not abnormal to see different people. But where somebody is at that's viewing you, I don't know, make it make sense, guys, but where somebody's at where they're viewing you, it's like they are used to the same thing. And so they view you as somebody who is different. Somebody that they feel like, wow, I kind of want to see what that's about. Like, how did they get all this knowledge? How do they know this? Where did they learn that? People could view you as, again, very obviously with what we've picked up so far, very connected to spirit, like for sure. Okay, and almost again, like you have some kind of secret, like connection with spirit that not everybody gets to have, you know? We have card 101, Prometheus, gifts of humanity on the bottom of the deck. Yes, spirit with gifts of humanity. Yes, I feel like people are viewing you as somebody who you have been given a gift. And it is something for you to hold sacred and keep protected, and you are here to give that gift to others as and when you see fit. Like again, on a mission here for sure. What else do we have here? How are people viewing Gemini gang? How are people viewing Gemini gang, please? We have new time, card number 36, inner calm and balance. And that came out with card number 74, create a sacred space cafe. People could like you, or like you. People could like you, shit. People could view you as somebody who likes coffee, or you like having a cup of tea, like just a nice quiet moment, you know, to sit there and just like unwind after the day or after the conversation. People could definitely view you as somebody like you need your alone time every once in a while, you know? And you like to keep your balance. You like to keep your inner calm, and your peace is a priority, and people view that, you in that way. And there's also something with this green on this card. It's like the heart chakra, and the turtle is green. It's giving the energy here of like, you protect your heart, or you like to keep your heart balanced. You don't like to have a lot of emotional turbulence. Like you don't like, you know, those situationships where it's like you're always like nervous because you're always afraid you're going to lose the person, and you know, oh my God, they didn't call me back for 3 days. What's going on? Are they, you know, what's happened? Like you don't like that kind of stuff. You like things that are steady, calm, reliable, predictable. Like you want, like, I know that every day at this time this person's gonna call me, or I know every day at this time this is gonna happen. It's like, and some people might look at that as a little bit boring, but I feel like you've been through a lot. You've seen the chaotic side of life. You've been through the situations where we don't know if they're cheating or if they're not, or if what's going on. Well, I don't got time for that. Like I don't want that, you know? I know what that's like, you know, like I've worked really hard to move on from that kind of energy. I want peace, you know? So yeah, I feel like, and you create a sacred space wherever you go, you have a sacred space that's attached to you. It's not at a distance. Okay. It's right there next to you. Like, again, your shell is decked out with all the snacks and the good music and the vibes and the soft pillows, you know, you got everything. And it's like, so if somebody's going to come into your sacred space, they need to be bringing that same kind of balance and, you know, energy, good energy too. Because if not, they can sail away for sure. Okay? Okay. One more from this deck. How are people viewing Gemini gang, please? One more. How are people? Oh, nope, that's too many. How are people viewing? Okay. We have Shamuel. Peaceful relationships. Again, card number 98, echoing everything that I just said. You are looking for a peaceful relationship, or you're looking for somebody who is on the same page as you. I don't got to guess and wonder and try to figure you out, and I don't got to heal your broken heart from the last person. Like, you are somebody who creates a safe space for people, and so you're looking for that in people. That's how people are viewing you. And maybe this is people who haven't given you that. You know, like they've given you a cause for worry or concern, or to be, you know, confused, or in this chaotic energy, or they've, you know, they've been in and out, they've been here and there, hot and cold, and it's caused some kind of imbalance within you, and they saw how you handled that. And so maybe they see now, because of that, Gemini wants something peaceful. Gemini wants something that they can rely on. But Gemini also provides that, because I feel like you are a very steady lover, right? You're somebody who, you know what your partner wants and needs, and you're all too willing to provide that, you know? So I feel like people feel really good when like things are good with you in a relationship. They feel really good. And I almost get the energy of like the best, you know? So maybe some people view you as the best they ever had. Okay. Or they just feel like you are like you set a fucking standard, okay, for people in relationships. That's how they're viewing you. Like, I need somebody that's like Gemini, right? But my question to these folks is like, are you able to be like, are you able to provide that? Because it's okay to want the best, but if you got, you know, champagne dreams on a beer budget, what are we doing here, okay? All right. How about last deck? How are people viewing? Actually, no, we're going to do one more deck after this. Some people were like, ugh, and other people were like, yay! Which I'm just like, if you don't want to hear me speak, why are you here, boo? You know, why are you watching me? All right. How are people viewing Gemini gang? We have the oak tree, power, courage, strength, a strong foundation, tradition, and family cycles. Yeah, people are viewing you as like somebody who comes from very strong stock. You know, even if like your immediate family is kind of chaotic and not great, it's like your ancestors are very strong. You have a very strong lineage. People see you as somebody who has a very strong foundation, or you're quite traditional, even if you are taboo. And that could be something that people like looking at the fine print. People have to look deeper to see. On the outside, you might be somebody who doesn't look like you're very traditional, but actually you have very traditional values, you know? And so that might be very confusing to people. Power, courage, strength. Yeah, all those things. That's how people view you. How are people viewing Gemini currently? I'm getting like solid like a rock. Okay? We have summer, expansion, growth, happiness, longer days, and opportunity. Yeah, people view you as a hard worker and somebody who's not going to quit until the job is done, basically. People view you as somebody who's in transit of expansion or growth, like you're booming or you're exploding right now. Like there's something that's taking off in your life, and people can see that. People might see you as like a ray of sunshine, you know? Like it's just warmer when you're around. That's, again, that create a sacred space with the peaceful relationships. People view you as somebody who's like, when it's good, it's good. Okay? Like, it's really good. What else do we have here? For how people are viewing Gemini, gang. We have the earthworm. Wow. Secrets exposed. Okay. We have epiphany, overthinking, clarity, and rumination. People could view you as somebody who you're not going to stop until you get the information that you're looking for, right? You could be an excellent private investigator, lawyer, judge, like, you know, police officer, whatever, like somebody who, a detective, somebody who needs to get to the bottom of something, maybe like loss prevention, or somebody who you do, what are those things that I hate? Audits. Okay. You could do audits and stuff. Like you are very good at looking at the details and finding what people don't see. So yeah, people could view you as somebody who's like, you're going to find out, like you're going to find out. And so people might view you as somebody they can't get over on. They can't fool you or keep secrets from you or hide things from you. You know, and you might be thinking, well, why would they? You'd be surprised. Oh, there's a lot of people that don't want to be seen, even in their relationships, even in their closest connections, they still want to have their own secrets. And so I feel like just it's hard to keep a secret around you, you know, like you might be saying stuff and not even realizing that you're reading somebody like terms and conditions. I feel like people have mastered being able to keep a straight face around you. Where it's like, because like you might just say things in random conversation and you don't realize that you're onto something. But if they were to react, you'd be like, well, why the hell did they react like that when I said that? Yep. You'd be calling people out without even being aware of it. That's for sure. Okay. So yeah, I do feel like people might view you as somebody who you do overthink a little bit, ruminate on things. But again, it's when you're trying to gain clarity here. I feel like that's when you do that. People could also view you as somebody who has like, you have a lot of good ideas. That's interesting that I said clarity and right on the bottom of the deck is the sun and clarity is right there. Okay, anything else from this deck? How people are viewing Gemini? We have sail away, letting go, shorter days, an ending, recharging, and reflection. It's interesting because we have longer days and we have shorter days, right? So people could have seen you as somebody who's gone through a whole season of life. I do feel like people see you as somebody who's letting go of something. Again, I think we talked about this in the beginning. Can't really remember the very beginning of the reading, but if somebody is emotionally attached to you, they feel like you've let go. You've moved on, you know? And maybe you're ready for something brighter or something new. Like an ending has happened and you've recharged yourself after that. Like you're doing great. And this can make people feel however they're going to feel, right? But it feels like you've definitely, you're okay with things ending. Like you're okay with the end of things, the natural cycle of life. You understand that all good things must come to an end, or nothing does last forever. Everything is temporary. Like you might have mantras like that because you don't want to ever be sitting in a situation where you're stuck, right? Or that you can't, like, you know how when you hear people say, I can't live without this person, it's like, oh, Lord have mercy, you know? Like, what do you mean you can't live without them? You were born without them, right? Like, I don't know. There's something there where it's like you never want to be in that situation. Like, yes, you can feel super attached to somebody or want somebody more than you've ever wanted anybody. But to get to the point where you can't live without them, that's just not your energy. That's just not you. And maybe somebody thought that was you, but you totally they should have read the fine print on that one. Because there's a difference between needing somebody and wanting somebody. I feel like somebody might have thought you needed them, but no, you just wanted their rusty, dusty ass. But, you know, things change. Okay? Like, that's the kind of energy I'm getting here. Like, you have definitely sailed away from something or let something go, and people are seeing you as that, for sure. Yeah, new ideas, hope. You're like, I'm ready for that new. Okay? I don't want to sit here and listen to this same old damn song. All right, let's get some feelings. How are people viewing Gemini, gang, right now? We have love coming out twice. Y'all. Okay? Dare I say somebody loves you? Somebody could love you, Gemini. They love everything about you. What is that song? I like the way you wear your hair, and I like those fancy clothes you wear. I like those little things you do that show how much you really care. Something, I forget what that song is. Ooh, and I like it. Do. That song, yes, that's coming through for somebody. All right, chill out. I just got something dirty. I'm not going to say that. Anyways, what else do we have here? How are people viewing Gemini gang currently? We have renewal, exactly. Some people might want a renewal with you, for sure. But for others, it just feels like, yeah, like they're seeing you in this new energy. Like you've changed, or you've grown, or you've healed, or something's flowing again, right? Like you have higher confidence, or you feel more deserving or something. Maybe somebody met you when you were down and you weren't feeling that great. And it's like, instead of lifting you up and being a supporting force in your life, they kind of just judged you and, you know, said that you're weak or you're needy or you're whatever. And it's like, well, all right then. And now they're seeing, now that you've had to heal yourself alone, as you often have to do, they're seeing like your true essence. Because I don't feel like this is anything that you haven't already been. It's just that people are seeing you in a different way. How are people viewing Gemini? We have change coming out. Yes, you are changing. And that change is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Ask the caterpillar. The change can be a very positive thing. Creativity on the bottom. People are also seeing that the way you do something is changing. And it's for the better, but it is different. It might need people getting used to it or something. Or maybe you want to change something. Maybe you want to change a logo, or you want to change an aesthetic, or maybe you want to change something in your house or something like that. How are people viewing Gemini gang? How are people viewing my Gemini gang? We have manic. Yeah. Okay. I feel like people see you as like all over the place a little bit. Like, yeah, you're here, you're there, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you thrive in that energy, right? So it's kind of like, you know, people might see you, like, view you as somebody who you're able to handle things in a different way than other people, or you're able to handle like intense, pressurized situations differently or better than other people. Wow, we have joy. Yeah, Gemini, I feel like people are seeing, like, I'm like, this is accurate. You know what I mean? Because sometimes these readings, you're just like, I don't know how this is going to go. But yes, people are viewing you in a very accurate way. At least this is what it feels like for me. Like, it feels very accurate. Like, yes, full of joy. And in fact, so much that I can't contain myself, you know? Yeah, people are seeing you as somebody who, like, you're just full of joy right now and happiness and ready for a new beginning. Yes, optimism. Exactly. Like, ready for a new beginning here. That's why people are viewing you. Okay. All right, Gemini. Well, that has been your reading, okay? I do hope it helps, hope it resonates, hope it does something, and I'll see y'all in the next